Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. This is a special edition of Mind Your Body and Soul. I am Joseph Ward, he's Matthias Sweet. So, our special guest here, because we normally don't do in-person interviews, but we had to break out another in-person interview for this incredible person within our Tallahassee community, Miss Ericka Cromartie. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. So, she is the only person that I have interviewed every year for past 7, 8 years?
Oh,
Maybe
yeah,
longer
maybe
than
even
that.
longer than that.
Maybe
yeah.
longer than that. And it's because of the character of the type of person that she is and what she has given to our Tallahassee community. We're talking about a story of how she has used basketball to not only transform her life, but the lives of the students that she touches on a daily basis. And so that's really what I want to get into, how she uses the game of basketball, but not just the game of basketball, but the lessons that she's used in life, how she's using all of these things and improving her life, but also the many children, the many students, the many athletes that she's been able to touch, and also having one of her players be a current member of the WNBA as we speak.
Yes, sir.
3-time state champion, Miss Ericka Cromartie. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's always a pleasure to be on your podcast and your platform.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure. It's more of a pleasure for me because, like I say, what you do to our community, what you bring to the community.
Thank you.
So before we jump into like the basketball questions, the athletic stuff, let's talk about you as a person, you as a human being. So
Sure.
we're in your office, but we're in your house.
Yes.
We're in your home.
Yes.
So you are a graduate of FAMU FAMU DRS. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit about your time at FAMU DRS and how does it feel to be able to come back home and be able to just impact your home like this?
Yeah, it's been a blessing. I didn't draw it up, and
Right.
usually that makes the perfect ending when you don't plan it, when you don't draw it up. And I came back here. Actually, I started attending FAMU DRS in 1989.
Okay.
And I graduated in 2001, so I was there for 12 years. Yeah. And people say, well, how you at one school for 12 years? It's easy. I mean, especially when you have fun and you have people that come and go.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same group. You have people that come, that stay, and people that leave, and you get experiences from them.
Right.
So we had a great time. I mean, we were a close-knit class, class of 2001, shout out to class of 2001. We just had a classmate that passed a couple weeks ago, so we all came together and just show homage and respects to him and his family, and that brought us closer. So now we're planning on just meeting again, just to get together, not just always on bad times and stuff like that. So we're very close knit. I can tell you their parents, their siblings,
That's good.
when their birthday is, whatever. I can tell you a lot of things about them. So it made us get closer and stronger. And to come back here and teach was just phenomenal. Like I said, I didn't draw it up, but I'm happy God did put it that way because I knew what it was as a student. So I feel like I can relate more to the kids as a teacher. So it's pretty cool. Like you said, we're close knit. We have a total of maybe 550 kids, K through 12, and you kind of know them. You either had their siblings or their cousin or somebody, so you know their family and you know where they come from. So it's pretty cool.
That's good. That's good because a city like Tallahassee, but a community like this on the south side, we need to make sure that we are celebrating I would consider you a hero.
Oh, I receive it. Thank you.
And we need to celebrate people like yourself because if you wasn't doing what you was doing, our community wouldn't have the impact. Our community wouldn't be this much better. So people who are doing that daily due diligence to make sure our community is better, we need to celebrate.
Thank you for that. I mean, it takes a certain person. I don't think everybody have the patience for students because sometimes they can test it. So I do think it takes a person that has patience and just the care for the students.
Gotcha.
Good.
Gotcha.
So, really, what inspired you to become a basketball coach, and how did you get your start in this profession?
Well, I've been playing basketball ever since I can remember. I started attending a summer camp called Palmer Monroe, and that's why I just started playing with the guys and some of the girls. We just played. You would have like gym time, and we would just go in there and start playing. And that's where I kind of honed my skills.
Right.
And I mean, I wasn't great when I first started it, but I just enjoyed it. I mean, I like being around the boys and my dad and stuff. So I just enjoyed it, and then I could kind of see myself getting a little bit better. And so I just stayed with it and just continued to play. And I got better. I played with YMCA. I played middle school basketball at FAMU High. Matter of fact, me and my friends were one of the first ones to start a middle school team at FAMU High for girls. Because we didn't have, well, I take that back. They had a team before that, but I think it was JV, but we did middle school. So I don't know if it was the first middle school team, but we were young.
Okay.
We were very young, and we played, and I just kept playing. You got a little better, and then high school came around, and by that time we were pretty good.
Right.
And I just kept playing, and I was able to receive a scholarship at Miles College. Played there some years, all 4 years actually. Got some accolades there. Became a part of the Hall of Fame at Miles College. So shout out to Miles College. But it just kept playing and kept getting better, and then I, just enjoyed it. And then when I came back from Miles, I was attending grad school at FSU, and my former coach asked me to come help him out and fell into coaching basketball.
Yes.
The rest is history.
Yeah. Now that's great. So your transition from Tallahassee to Miles College. Where's Miles College located?
It's in Birmingham, Alabama.
Birmingham.
It's a HBCU private school.
So was it like? Because I know what Tallahassee is.
Yes.
It was living in Birmingham that much different than living in Tallahassee?
It is.
Yeah, so it was a coffee shop?
Yes. Birmingham is huge. Because at first I was like, I'm going to Alabama. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Mom was like, Birmingham is pretty big. And so when I got there, I was like, oh, wow, it is. But it was cool. I mean, when I first got there, of course, you're young. You're first freshman, so you're not really trying to go out about. So I really didn't travel around the city that much my freshman year. Mm-hmm. But like my sophomore year and on out, I did. Because I pledged in a sorority, Delta Sigma Theta. And you know how it is, you pledge and you're playing ball, so you're kind of moving around. Yeah. So I would actually live in Birmingham. I would.
Oh, that's good.
Nice city.
Yeah, it's a nice city. Yeah.
Now it's funny because when you think about Alabama, you think about the small
country, right? And that's what I was like. But I got to Birmingham and said, okay, this is pretty cool.
Okay, so your first coaching job in Tallahassee was what?
My first coaching job was assistant coach at Leon High School under Adolph Hicks.
Okay. And so that was your former
basketball coach.
High school basketball coach?
Yep, at FAMU High School.
Okay, and so he brought you on at Leon?
Yes, he did.
So what was that experience like as, this is my first time being a basketball coach. I'm in this position. I'm with my old basketball coach. What was that experience like, and how do you think that helped you to be the success that you are?
You know what? It helped me a lot because, let me say the reason why it did, because he didn't put a lot of pressure on me to do this, do that, do that. I was actually in grad school, so he just told me when I can come. And then when I did come, he gave me a chance to kind of get my feet wet and just get out there. Sometimes when people ask you to be a part of something, you just kind of there and you're like, okay, I'm wasting my time. But he wasn't like that. He gave me the opportunity to work with the JV team. And that's when I kind of got familiar and comfortable with showing someone else how to do a certain skill. And the girls were very receptive. To this day, I still see some of them. And they were my first group. And then, you know how it is, you start something, it gets a little easier as you go. And that's kind of how it started. And then I started teaching at Crossroad Academy. Then I was able to coach the middle school team. And then, how they say, every round goes higher and higher. And that's kind of how it went.
Right.
Well, that kind of go into my next question was what are some of the biggest challenges that you had to face as a high school basketball coach? A lot of times people think of you're just a coach, but you're doing a lot more because you could be a mentor, you could be the mother, the father. Sometimes it just depends on what. So what are some challenges, Jer? Because it's not an 8 to 5 like everybody thinks it is. So what are some of the challenges and how did you overcome those challenges?
That's a great question. Especially dealing with females, that can be challenging at times. But I will say though, I've been blessed to have very good girls. Within those very good girls, they have issues, of course, but those were issues that I could relate to. Some of them I had experienced myself, and like they were very receptive. They're really good girls. We had a lot of success on and off the court. To this day, I still see. Matter of fact, one came today, brought me her, showed me her kids. She's trying to enroll them in school here. And she said, "You gonna be coaching them?" I said, "No, hopefully not, because that's a long time."
From now.
Yes. But just the fact that they want to come back tells me that I did something right. You know what I mean? So I had a great time with them. I learned things as I went along. I reflected back to when I was playing, the things that I went through, to how to kind of help them go through some things. And it was pretty cool. Okay. It's not nothing that you can just say it's a book for it. Right. You just got to go through it.
Right. So I want to piggyback off of his question. What were some of the biggest challenges that you have witnessed that your players have gone through that you had kind of helped
Oh, that's a good question too. Just sometimes it was the pressure of success because we had been so successful, and they felt like every year they had to live up to it. And I would always tell them, this is a new team, new year. But I get it, because it is. I mean, when you're coming from a program that was at state every year, now it's on you. This is your time. What are you going to do? And some of the girls had a hard time dealing with that. Okay. So, yeah. And then I think sometimes at a small school, you're known as, oh, you play basketball, so I'm going to watch you. You know what I mean? So they had that to deal with too. But things that's going to help them later on in life.
Now, that's cool. But what you also explained, like celebrity.
Yeah.
You know, being able to deal with celebrity, that's not something that everybody knows how to deal with, or everybody's even built to deal with. So, how did you, what messages did you have to give your players to kind of help them be able to navigate through that type of environment?
Well, kind of like you said, I explained to them that's how it is in life. Okay. You know, even if it's not sports, it's going to be things that's going to test you, going to try you, to make you kind of improve or see things a certain way. And that's kind of how I did it. I didn't. Someone asked me what I would think, I would tell them, but for the most part, I would just give them opinions and let them kind of just navigate it themselves. Because when you always tell them what to do, they're never going to think for themselves. Mm-hmm. So I will give them my opinion, but then at the end of the day, I let them make their own choices. Now, if you see it's going too far left, you got to step in.
Right.
But if you know they kind of just trying to figure it out, you kind of give them that space.
Right.
So what do you think the team chemistry how team chemistry plays in a successful basketball team? Like, how does that work, and how do you build positivity with, especially, you know, some girls are girls, sometimes they have conflicts with each other, so you got that conflict within here. So how does that chemistry work, or how do you work around getting that type of chemistry?
Well, it's kind of like when you're working in the office, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of have to find a common ground to make it work. We do it, how officers do retreats, we do a lot of team bonding, you know what I mean? Get them together, and we talk about nothing about basketball, just what you doing, what you got going on, you know, you heard the new music, just different things to kind of get them to see, I can relate to her, and then I tell them, you might not, I won't say but you might not vibe with all your teammates, but you all have a common goal, and that's to be successful. I said, so you will get to a point where you can respect them to get to that goal. And you have some that's closer than others. You're going to have that. But for the most part, they all respected each other. Right.
Now, I like those questions like that, because I'm always interested in the strategy that you have to put together. Like,
definitely.
How do you, like, let's say you come in on a day and everybody's had a bad day.
Yeah, we've had those.
How do you pull everybody back together to be able to focus on that common goal?
You know, a day like that, we probably wouldn't even touch a basketball.
Yeah.
We would just go in, we just have, like, we call it chalk talk. Like, let's go, let's talk about it. What happened today? What's going on? Because you can get a vibe, you can get a sense, like, hey, okay, so-and-so beefing or something like that. So either, if it's two people, I pull them to the side. If it's a lot going on, I try to talk to the whole group. So it just all depends on the situation.
Gotcha.
But it has been times where we haven't even touched the ball. We just talked it out, or just kind of like, you know what, let's go home and let's come back tomorrow.
Gotcha.
So with those, how do you stay up to date with, like, the new trends, the new methods, new things like that go with basketball in and off?
Oh, you always got to be learning. I mean, that's a never ending cycle. Clinics. I'm a YouTube queen. I love YouTube. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I just search YouTube videos and just mentors I look up to, stuff like that. I watch a lot of basketball, so you got to keep up. I mean, that's just like a doctor. You go to the doctor, he never practice his profession. You don't know what he'll give you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you got to stay on your craft. So I just always watch it and is around it. That's really what it is.
So, like, another question I got that's probably not on the plate or anything. It's just, how do you get the girls ready for, because you mentioned that someone was in the women's NBA, how do you get them, like, scouts? Are y'all looking for that type of stuff? How do y'all set it up? Or how do you know if that child really wants to go further? Because, you know, some people say, I'm playing basketball and that's it. And then you got those parents that, this is your life. You're going to do this. You're going to get me out of where I'm at. Yeah. So how do you deal with those type of things and trying to help them get to where it is? Because the pressure's coming from everywhere, especially if they're good.
Right.
You getting that pressure from parents, everybody. You're gonna make it. You're gonna be the one, which is adding more pressure.
Right.
So how do y'all get those, like, with scouts?
That's a great question, and thank God for the power of social media.
Yes.
Because I befriended a lot of college scouts and coaches on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And it's a thing called field level that we have where you just put your name out there, and then colleges will just come and attract to you. You put your player's name out there and they'll ask you how they're doing, what they got going on. So things like that. And we have had girls who just said, I'm just a part of the team, something to do after school, and we respected that. But you're still going to get the same effort as someone else. Then we had the ones that this is their life, like this is how I'm going to eat next week. And we still push them all the same, but when it comes to getting them out to schools, that's different because this player didn't want to go to college, but the ones that did, we hitting the ground running. And we trying to get them out there.
That is a great question. Because that recruiting process, cause I think about my time, like when I played football in high school, and I know I found myself in several meetings with college scouts. I don't even know how they didn't know who I was. I was just in there because the coach said go in there. So, and I know social media is different today, but how do you go about, okay, these are my seniors, these are the players who are interested in said colleges, and is it just reaching out to the scouts and letting them know, hey, come check out these players? Just like
that's kind of basically what it is. I mean, because if they're with me for a period of time, I know who's serious about it and who really wants to make it a living. And so, like, going into their senior year, that's when we really kind of get their name out there, because actually the senior year is kind of late. So going into those senior years, like that summer, we're trying to get them out there, making sure they're working on their craft. And just bringing the coaches in. But it's kind of easier now with social media.
I bet.
Yeah, because you got a huddle, you can put, it's like a platform the kids can put their highlights on and send them out to coaches. So a coach can get a highlight tape in a minute. You know what I mean? They don't have to visit so much, you know.
So, my bad.
Go ahead.
Another thing that just popped in my mind with NIL.
Oh yeah, we talked about that in class.
How is NIL, has it affected any of your players? Or
not yet, but we're going to speak that because that's a good thing.
What is NIL for the
name,
people who don't know? Because I don't know.
Yeah, NIL is name, image, and likeness. Basically, college players, if you're popular enough and you have your business together, you can get sponsorships and get paid. So, Angel Reese, young lady for LSU, she's the highest paid college
Her and
athlete.
Flau'jae Johnson.
They're like millionaires now. They became millionaires within a couple of weeks just from all the sponsors and stuff. But high school players, they're choosing colleges based off of who got the bag, especially if you're good enough. So how are you getting your players to, or have you even thought have these conversations about getting your players to choose the colleges for the right reasons?
We haven't had those conversations yet, but I hope we will, because that'll be good. That means that you're getting something from it. But we talk about it in my sports management class, and we actually had a speaker come in. Antonio Carter came down university from FAMU, and I asked him about it, and he said that he kind of wished that the kids didn't get all the money up front. Maybe you get a certain percentage here if you do this, if you graduate, if you get good grades, if you have so many yards on the field or score so many points. Because he was saying if you give them out at one time, then the drive gonna be a little bit different because you already got the money. You know what I mean? So I agree with that. I do believe they should get paid though. I agree with that, but I think it should be in increments.
I agree with you on that, because me thinking back as a college student, I'm 18. I got an industry money right now. So what this mean? I can do a whole bunch of stuff. And it's like, and then you also got to think of what's in the protection for the kid, because you have greedy parents and greedy friends that, oh, I got you to where you at, you need to help me. So those are, and you just shelling out, and then now you end up being that broke person, and you like, where do these millions of dollars go? But I ain't got nothing to show for it. And so I do agree with it should be on there. But my next question was kind of in tie with that, is like, how do you know, as far as, because I know being in sports and going to college, you have sports is sports. But sometimes these people want to be nurses, doctors, things like that. How do they get to be the basketball player and still do the basketball, the balance, like I guess almost work-life balance, but school-life balance?
Gotta be able
because
to do
some
it.
programs won't let you be like pharmacy. I don't think you
that
can
is
be
true.
in some programs and play team, but my scholarship lies on me here in order for me to do this. So how does that work?
It's just you have to juggle it. I mean, and you are right. Some schools will not let you pick certain majors because of the conflict of being a student athlete in that major, the demand of it. So that is true, but I mean, I would never tell a student, well, don't go SBI because you playing ball. No, if you can do both, do it. But you gotta understand, you gotta have some time management skills too.
So how did, as a college athlete, how did you handle the balance of? Because you said you was able to play at Delta, so you was a basketball player
And I ran track too.
So how did you
double sport?
Well, I did cross country,
sorority,
yes,
and school, and still enjoy life.
But you know what? It's funny you say that because I had to ask permission from my coach to pledge because I'm really there for basketball, and she's paying my way.
Right.
So she had to approve for me to pledge because you're saying my time is not going to be where it need to be, and she accepted it. She just said, "I'll do it with you, but you can't slack here." And the great thing was, pledging was in the spring.
Okay, that's right.
So the season was over. Right.
If it was season, you would have been like, "No, I can't even do it."
But you had to make sure you make the workouts.
Right. So I was able to do it, but now I'm thinking back, dang, how did I do that? Because that was a lot. So yeah, I mean,
it's getting everybody to work together.
Right.
Too. It's like, hey, I'm trying to do this, but I need you to work with me here.
Right.
To get here.
Right.
But also, I remember you were on the step team.
Yeah, I was on the step team.
And so with your personality, because you're a little more reserved personality, so what pushed you toward being on that step team? How was that experience?
Well, I think I did that when I first pledged. So you know when you fresh out, like you're doing everything, right? So but I actually enjoyed it though.
That's
so
good.
yeah, I think because I was they call it a newbie, whatever. So I was just trying everything. So yeah, I did. Hey, you got good memory. But yeah, I did. Get on the step team. I did it for like 2 years too. I did, and that was a great experience because coming into college, all I knew was basketball. And that's why I try to tell my kids, like, enjoy college too, because it can be so demanding. So when I got there, I don't think I was even thinking about Delta, but I think one time I just saw them across the yard and just seeing what they did in the community, this type of thing, and I was like, that's something I think I want to do. And the rest was history, and I'm happy I did. Good. So I tell my students, enjoy the full college experience, because once it's gone, you're not going to get it back.
That brings me back to, we had some interns. And one of our interns, great guy, did everything. We took a lot of work to get to where he's at now, but his whole life was football, basketball. That's his resume. Never had anything to work. So how do you teach the kids about other things? Because going into the college life, it's not always, everybody's not going to make those basketball teams.
That's true.
And all you have this, and then now you made the basketball team, you through through college, everything, but you have nothing, no other experience. My life was basketball, my life was football, my life was softball. How do you try to get the kids ready for that kind of thing? Because it's like, I'm focused on this, but they don't have that plan B.
Right. I mean, you try to get them to just kind of focus on other things too, because kind of like what you just said, some people, if they don't make a team or a program, they don't know how to deal with that. Then things start coming in, depression, setbacks. So I try to get my girls to understand, like, it's life outside of sports. Have a backup plan, you know what I mean? And that's grades too. Make sure you have good grades, because you might not make the team, but you can still go to school because of your grades. And everybody's not gonna make it to the NBA, WNBA, like that's evident. You know what I mean? So what will you do if you don't make this team?
Right.
So we try to get them to understand, like, be involved in other things too.
Yeah, definitely. So your first 3 years coaching here at FAMU High, you took your team to 3 straight state championships.
Okay.
So going into that first state championship, how did you prepare your team for that season, but also knowing, okay, I just won a state championship.
Yeah.
And then you do it again, and then you do it the third time. So how do you prepare yourself each year to go in, not thinking, all right, well, we're going to win the championship, but thinking we trying to win the championship? Yeah.
The first year, similar to how it was when pledging, you know what I mean? It was so fresh, you know what I mean? I like the game, that's why I was not fresh to me, because I'm familiar with it. But coaching on that level was because I think I had just left Crossroad. So I'm coming from a middle school team to a high school team. So it was a difference. But like I said, those girls were great. Like what helped me, the year before, they went to the state finals and lost. Okay. So majority of that same group came back.
Oh, that's great.
Right? So they were like, Coach, hey, look, Coach, we went last year, we didn't win it. We're going to win this year.
So they had to get you on.
Yeah. No, they had to get me on board. Like, I was ready too, but I could just see in them, they were like, oh, yeah, it's not going to come in our way. Like, we're going to get this year. And I said, great, because I'm going to help you get there. And that's what it was. Like, everything fell into place. And I tell people, to win state championship, any kind of championship, everything has to fall in place.
Yes.
Like, injuries, just no freak accidents. Like, it's not easy. Everything has to line up. And that year it did. And those girls deserved it because they worked their behinds off for it. And they were great students. To me, that was one of my best teams.
Right.
Hands down.
Right.
Physically, emotionally, like, they were really, really good kids.
Right. So now, if I remember correctly, the third championship team, that was the smaller team.
Yes,
who was able to overcome
smaller and shorter. Like, I only had maybe like 8 girls, and they were shorter than everybody.
You only had eight players.
Maybe 8. The things out there in the gym, the pictures. I think we might have had. Is that it? Yeah, that's the group right there.
Yeah, that's like
so that's
8
or 9 players.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You really gotta be careful, no injuries.
Right, that's what I say. Everything has to fall in place. And my first year state championship team, they're actually going to be honored in the FAMU High Sports Hall of Fame this summer.
Great.
Okay.
Because that was the first team I had. I mean, I love all 3 of them. Don't get me wrong. Even the ones that didn't make it, I love them the same.
That was your first
But
team.
that first one, they're going to be honored for the Hall of Fame this year.
So with that, as a successful black athlete and coach, what did you consider your biggest challenge that you had to face to get there on the court and off the court? Because it's very rare that you get a lot of females that are black in certain fields. So what was your challenges that you had to face and on the court and off the court as being a successful black?
I would have to say just to, you have the male the males that kind of feel like, what I'm saying. First of all, she's a female and then she's young, so I really didn't say too much. I mean, you see the stuff, you hear it, but I never didn't say too much because I was just like, my girls will speak for it, or the skill level will speak for it. So it's just that in a male-dominated field that they felt like, sometimes it was kind of like for males or whatever, but that turned away quick once we kept being successful.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or my age. I mean, I remember I heard that too. She's young, that type of stuff.
But you gotta, and that's what we talk about all the time in the office is, sometimes it's not always about the older folks.
That's
the
true.
older folks, you gotta let that fresh blood get in there because you get repetitive doing the same thing over and over. You're not gonna do nothing, and then you could stunt other people's shine because you're not letting them grow because they're doing it a different way than what you're doing. So,
tradition.
Tradition.
That young female coach set a bar of excellence though for the South Side and for the city and for athletic programs around here because everybody's looking at you and like, we got to keep up.
Yeah, and we became targets very quick.
Right.
Like this past year, we were down. I had a couple girls to transfer out. We graduated a big class the year before, so we were very down this year. Oh, and it was targets.
Right.
It was target. But I said, you know what? That's cool though, because that means you respect me that much to wanna, you know what I'm saying? So it was cool,
And so if I'm correct, your team has made it to the state finals every year you've been here?
Except for this year and last year.
Okay.
And I've been here since 2014.
Right. But pretty much the state finals every year. So that target gonna keep growing, but the fact that you're able to still be the team that has a target on your back, that's good. You want to beat Alabama.
Yeah.
You want to be LeBron James.
Yeah.
You want to be the one that people are coming after.
Yeah.
That means you're doing something right.
You're right. Didn't feel good, but you're right.
Right. So, one player, if you had one of your players be able to make it to the WNBA, how does that feel? That's
a blessing. I mean, and I will say, a lot of people pour hands on her, so it wasn't just me.
Right.
But to say I coached her is a blessing, and she's a phenomenal person. Jasmine Jones, she's playing for the Washington Mystics.
I love her game.
Yeah. So, and I knew that your question earlier. I knew it's what she wanted to do, so I tried to do everything I could to make sure she got there. So to see her dream live out, I mean, when she got drafted, man, I ran outside, just was screaming like I got drafted. But that's how I felt because I knew how much she worked and how much she wanted it. Yeah.
And you put the work in behind her as well.
Yeah.
You took that time out. And that's just a lot of times, you get some people who are coaches and they just, I'm here for the game, I'm just going to coach. But they're going to put it back into the kids. And a lot of times they don't understand. For me playing football in high school and middle school, it's like, yeah, you understand it, but do the coaches really have that oomph for
That's
you?
true.
And you
That's
think
true.
they might, but sometimes they really don't.
Yeah.
And they tell you things, and that's how a lot of people get hurt with feelings and emotions. So it's good that you have that connection with them to be that support. Because some people like, oh, now what's the next step for me?
Right.
Exactly.
And it's not about me. It's always
Right.
about the
When you
the
take
player.
on any position in education, teaching, coaching, what have you, it's not about you anymore. Because first of all, the pay is definitely not there. So
Right.
that's out. It's you have to be selfless in this position. You know what I mean? Like I look at it as my days are gone. I played, and I thank God I had a great career. Let's move on. Let's pass it forward. You know what I'm saying?
So with that being said, like, how do you balance? When you went back to teaching the kids about that, how do you balance work, life, home,
Yeah,
students?
because y'all coaches put a lot of time
in.
Yes,
And then
yeah.
if it's anything like my phone ring with patients way after hours. Like that was 2 of them they're calling. So it's like, how do you deal because you're at home trying to enjoy your family, but then a player calls you with, Coach, I really need you.
Yeah.
And so how do you
that
balance
has happened. That has happened. I mean, the fact that I don't have any kids, that's kind of gives me more time. But I still sometimes have to like shut it off because if you don't, you will never enjoy the other things of life. Like we said, it's other things besides basketball. So like summer coming up, I try to low key like just kind of like get out of coaching a little bit. Not say I'm not a coach anymore,
take a break.
but I take a break from
'Cause
it.
you need
Maybe
that break.
like first part of June, probably to middle of June, and in July I kind of come back into it. But I take that time away. I travel. I just try to do other things beside it so I can be ready to come back when it's time.
That's good. Are you about your vacation time about
it's
coming?
coming.
It's coming.
Yeah,
It's much
coming.
needed.
Your
Yes.
earned vacation
Yes,
time.
yes, yes.
That's amazing. Have you had other schools or either other programs come and try to take you away from FAMU High? And if so, what has kept you here?
Yes, to your question, I have had schools to call, inquire, and ask, if I ever want to move from FAMU DRS. And what has kept me here is, I think because I know the school, I went here, I have a buy-in with it, and I know the get-up, the makeup of it. So I think that is it. And I always said, and I don't know what God has, but I never want to go sideways.
Gotcha.
What I mean by that is, if I move, I want to move up. Not to the side.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's just me. I don't.
You want to level up.
Right,
You don't wanna,
right. I don't want to go to
stay
another high
complacent.
school. I would rather go up if I continue to coach. So
Right.
that's kind of what kept me here as well.
Oh, that's good.
So if you decided to coach, would you be at another HBCU?
Hey, well, whoever wants me, there's a great program. I'm there. They can be Ivy League. They can be not anything,
Right.
but
The
a great situation. Yeah, and I don't want to go too far. That's me talking now. But I definitely want to coach at the next level.
You never thought about going further on up?
Yeah.
Past the college level?
Yes.
WNBA.
That's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you never know how it is. And being, saying how a strong woman she is going into doing things, making different heights, she's going to have those eyes on her. So it's like, that's just something to think about. Like, that could be a next level. She
Yes,
could
yeah,
skip that.
definitely.
And so be that. But sometimes I'll be ready for those things.
You're right. Now you're right. You are absolutely right. And that's why I think I had to have those seasons where we didn't do so well, because you gotta be like what they say, tried and tested. You know what I mean? To understand if you can withstand the times when it's not going the way you want it to be.
But that's why I like asking you the strategy questions and the questions that go into you preparing your team, the plays, and just preparing them physically, because that right there, that is the preparation for the outcome. And then we see the outcome that you have every year. You have a successful year every year. So in my opinion, your resume and your experience shows that you know this game.
Definitely.
You know how to coach. You know how to motivate people. You had your third championship team. They were outmatched, outsides every game. People wasn't expecting you all to win.
Because that was the year right after when Jasmine graduated, and a lot of people wrote us off.
Right.
And even they were in the beginning like, Coach, we don't know. And I said, what? And it was like, Coach, I said, you can do it. You can do it. I said, it might not be you gonna win every game. I said, but stay together, keep working, you'll do it, and they did it.
Right, but if you can coach, you can coach.
That's true.
And that's on any level, because you know the game, you understand what it takes to motivate people and get people to better themselves and go to that next level. So I see you at the next level.
I receive it. Thank you.
I see
Yeah,
you being
I
able to move up
appreciate
as high as you can, because you know this sport up and down, and you know how to get players to be better. So
And you gotta get the buy-in from the players because the coach is only good as
Yes,
that team.
yes.
So if your players don't like you, they don't. But it
But they
seems
do.
like they do, and
Right.
then they work it out for you. So as that goes with it, what advice would you give any young black girl or any young girl that's aspiring to be an athlete or trying to follow in your footsteps as being a coach? Because sometimes you don't see that many black girls trying to be coaches or do anything like that. So what advice would you give them today from a standpoint of what you could do to motivate them to become, if they say, Coach, I want to be just like you, what could you give them?
Okay, first of all, I tell them to be themselves. You know what I mean? You can admire me, but be yourself. And they have to be knowledgeable of the game. Because you have a lot of people that want to coach, but don't know the game.
Right.
You know what I mean? They want to get players here, get players there, that's good, but that's not coaching them.
Right.
That's just managing somebody. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you want to get somebody that actually has a heart for students, for one. You got to be able to deal with kids and able to coach anything. And then be knowledgeable of the sport. And stay knowledgeable of the sport. Not stuff that you did 30 years ago. You know what I mean? It changes. Kids change. You got to stay in the loop. And just be you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to go try to be like the coach down the street because that's not me. My style is totally different from hers or his. So be yourself and you'll attract the right ones.
Right. It just made me think, how you keep your players from shooting all them daggone 3-pointers? And Steph Curry done changed the game. Everybody want to shoot a 3-pointer.
Thank God they can't shoot threes like that. Because, that's crazy. I can't even hardly watch it sometimes. Come down to the fast break, shoot a 3. I'm like, really?
Because I'm watching the last college and high school games I watch. I'm just, my hand, stop shooting.
Just messed up the game.
Right. But you're not having that issue with
I don't really tell my girls not to shoot the ball because sometimes you like, oh, okay, then, you know. But I just say it like this: if you hadn't practiced that, don't do it.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Now, if it's something you've been practicing, go ahead. But you just come out there jacking up threes and you hadn't practiced that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
That's not gonna work.
So
you don't practice it, don't do it.
So do you get like some girls who are good at what they do?
Definitely.
They're amazing. They the best that you've seen. But how do you get them to be that team player?
That's a great question.
Because watching like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Will coming from, I don't watch that much basketball, so to put that disclaimer out there, I ain't no sports guy. I just see what's on TV.
Right.
And you see him being
the
ball hog, or even when you watch Joanna Man, see him dating
yeah.
and he was like, I gotta be the one to do.
Right.
How do you break that? Like, is that hard to break?
It's not, because you don't break it. You just change it around.
Okay.
Because you don't want to take that drive out that person because you're going to need that person. Mm-hmm. But you just try to make them understand that they need their teammates too. Because you don't want to knock that person down because you're going to have the stars, you're going to have the role players. But you got to try to make sure that everybody understands their role.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you don't take away, you just add to.
Go back to what you said.
That just seems hard though. It's just like...
But that goes
in the beginning it could be.
Yeah.
But then after a while you get them to buy in and see, I can still get mine, but I got to get mine
and
to my players too.
Up.
Right, it's a system.
That star is nothing without support.
Yeah, Michael Jordan, he had to have everybody else around him to do it.
He didn't win till it changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the fact that you year in and year out, we can see the camaraderie, we can see the teamwork, we can see the success. You basically live at the state finals. You might as well go ahead and get a hotel and name it FAMU DRS hotel.
Yeah.
Because y'all living at the state finals. And then young girls are coming in the program, they're leaving out the program, going on to college, going on to their lives, and they're coming back. Well, they're going off to be successful, then they're being able to come back and show you their success. Mm-hmm. So that means you are doing your job. And that's one of the main reasons we're gonna keep doing these interviews.
All right, let's do it.
Cause you
I mean that's the main thing. Like, did we have on last year? Maybe no, we did. So every year I've coached, we've had a girl to sign a scholarship.
That's good.
Every year. Now last year was flag, but still she played ball for me. And before that, it was all basketball. Mm-hmm. So I pride myself on that. Definitely state championships. Don't get me wrong, but we pride ourselves on we get girls in school as well too.
Right. No, but that's amazing because you get to change people's lives. Mm-hmm. For some people, even though I don't like it, but for some people that's one of their tickets. But I know here, it's a great thing with you is you're imparting on them. Basketball is not the end, but a means to an end. So you need to develop your mind as well.
Right.
But some of the environments, some people may come in. Basketball may be what they see as their goal or their ticket out of it, and you're helping to really expand that ticket and give them a wider view because it's kind of tunnel vision. Right. You give them a wider view You can use this, but if you use this,
Right.
you can go even further.
Go even further. You're right.
That's how we do it. Ericka Cromartie. I mean, what can I say? Greatness personified. Year in and year out, the due diligence, the work, the support, what she pours into the young girls, what the young girls pour into you. It just works together, and that's why we have success here at FAMU High on the south side of town. She set the standard for Tallahassee, and we all trying to live up to it. So thank you once again for another
having me.
Great interview, and we're going to keep doing this. So shout out to all of our viewers, and remember nmcpodcast.com is where you can catch all of our podcasts. Neighborhoodmedicalcenter.org is our website. Go to all of the podcast platforms. We're on YouTube Podcasts now, so that spreads us out to all the different podcast platforms. Google Podcasts, iTunes, Breaker, Radio Public, all those podcast platforms. Y'all can catch us. I'm Joseph Ward. Tea is sweet. Once again, Miss Ericka Cromartie. See y'all next time.